What's up, everybody? I wanted to share with you my latest raid build, and I'm really happy with this. My first one was pretty solid, but it was actually a little bit too much survivability and was lacking a little bit of damage and just had overkill amounts of survivability. So I gradually started dropping some, and this is what I've came up with. I'm going to show you the gear pieces first, and then I'll go over my gun and the choice of talents that I went with my gun. But keep in mind, I'm using the survivalist specialization. This gives you 15% damage reduction from elites, 15% assault rifle damage, and benefits in healing and stuff. And the crossbow actually one-shots the vents. It's really nice. So I think one thing that's really important is 2 pieces of Heligard and 2 pieces of Fenris. Doesn't matter where you put them. I used to have a Fenris chest, but I'll show you why I changed it. But 2-piece Heligard, 2-piece Fenris for their bonuses. Heligard gives you one piece for total armor, 5%, and then 20% hazard protection. Fenris gives you the 10% assault rifle damage and 10% damage from protection from elites. Both of those are really, really good. I'm gonna go over my mask first. What we got here is a massive hazard protection roll, damage to elites and hard hitting. I think this is a pretty solid mask. The hazard protection helps a lot in the raid. The grenades and the explosions, like from the final boss, they just don't really do anything to you. Buddy and Lucy, I can just stand right in front of them. They don't really do anything unless I get hit by the one-shot thing. But hazard protection's really, really useful for the raid. Way better than health on your mask, by far. As far as backpack goes, another piece Heligard here for the bonus. And I've got health, armor, weapon damage, hardened, and safeguard. Safeguard isn't necessary, but it is nice to have. And as it is right now, I could lose safeguard and add 1 red mod slot, which gets me, 6 to 6.5 more weapon damage. But I don't think it's worth it. I can gain a little bit of damage, but the benefits of having safeguard, I think, outweighs that 1 extra mod slot. And as far as other talents on the backpack, there's nothing super useful. There's like, the med kit talent, but because I'm running Unbreakable, it doesn't work. And for me, I just found that Safeguard, however, a lot of times doesn't really matter. When it does matter and it works, it's insane because you get full health real fast. But it only lasts 5 seconds, so it's not as awesome as it used to be. This thing's got 9% weapon damage, hardened. It's pretty important on this build to get more armor. I wish this was a higher armor roll. It's kind of a shitty backpack, honestly, but it's the best I have. As far as chests, this used to be a Fenris chest with hardened, and I changed it up. My Fenris chest that I used to wear, I can show you here, was unbreakable, hardened, had huge amounts of armor and health. As you can see here, I actually gain, quite a bit of armor from running this. It gives me, 30,000 armor here. But the problem was that the red was headshot damage because I had to roll Unbreakable onto it. So what we have here is this Alps chest. It's got an okay armor roll. It's kind of low, but I rolled 14.5% weapon damage on it, and it has Unbreakable, as well as a utility system for my percent armor mod, and then 2 blues. I'm actually going to put a better armor mod in this slot right here, which was from my Fenris chest. As far as mod slots, this here, let me show you what I think is the best kind of mod. Armor, percent armor, and protection from elites. Those are what I think is the best. Now, you can also, if you don't have that, obviously, I think protection from elites is your best bet. I would much rather have lower armor roll with protection from elites than a little bit more sheet armor. Protection from elites is amazing, and if you have any mods that have it, make sure that's what you put in your gear. Keep an eye out for it and don't delete that stuff because it's hard to get. Now, I think that covers my chest piece. This can get higher. I have one with 15%, but it was actually a pretty usable piece, so I just sacrificed a shitty piece of gear for 14.5. Gloves, I'm running Murakami, which is not a bad one piece. It gives you 8% health. Without it, I dropped to 90,000. I guess it would need to have health involved there, but it gives me like, an extra 10,000 health on it. I rolled my assault rifle, 10% on them, and devastating. If I had damage to elites for gloves, I would wear damage to elites gloves instead of devastating, but I've never once found a pair, so keep that in mind. You can get more headshot damage, obviously, but a lot of the encounters in the raid don't benefit from headshot damage. So for me, the choices are either devastating, damage to elites, or if you have a build that utilizes only 3 reds, you could run compensated, and that would be nice for the plus 15% weapon damage. But my build cannot have 3 reds without sacrificing, you know, quite a bit. I could, if I had a backpack with no red, I could run no red on the backpack with compensated gloves, and that would be, you know, pretty damn good. But as far as I know, I don't have a backpack like that. But I'm looking out for one because that will add more damage to the build. Holster. I'm running a Fenris holster. Assault rifle protection from elites. It's a double blue Fenris with hard hitting. I needed 11 blues for this. Oh, I forgot to show you why, but yeah, 11 blues is what I was going for Unbreakable on my chest. And this is a pretty solid holster. It's got health on kill, which is useless, but it's got a really nice health roll on it and hard hitting. So look out for Fenris holsters. These can be pretty nice. And let me show you the chest if I forgot to tell you guys the talent. Unbreakable gives you 70% of your max armor when your armor is depleted. Armor kits used within the next 7 seconds are not consumed. You can't use, like, I think it's efficient on your backpack that has the 50% chance to not consume ammo kits or armor kits. So you can't use that at the same time as Unbreakable. But this is a really, really good talent. And I think it's the best survivability talent by far. Some people like to run Bloodsucker, but the problem with Bloodsucker is you have to be the one that actually drops the armor. You can get, you know, 150% armor with Bloodsucker, but the stacks last 10 seconds. However, they do refresh. So as long as you get another one, the armor refreshes. But the thing with Bloodsucker is there's other people that are also shooting enemies, and they might be the ones that drop the armor, not you. And when you do drop the armor on an enemy with Bloodsucker, it doesn't mean that you need it right then. You might already be full armor and not really need it. Now, when Unbreakable happens, that means that your armor is all the way gone, and you actually need it. There is a 1 minute internal cooldown on Unbreakable, so you will need to let that regenerate before you can pop it again. But man, is it great. Plus, it scales with your incoming and outgoing healing. So I'm getting around like 85 or 90, almost 90% of my armor back when I pop Unbreakable. It's amazing. I really, really love it. So highly recommend Unbreakable for the raid. And last piece is the knee pads. Knee pads, I used to have Gila knee pads with a Fenris chest on my old build, but when I changed my chest to the Alps chest, I needed that 2-piece Fenris. I think the 10% protection from elites is really important. It's a lot better than armor. It's worth so much more than a chunk of armor. So 2-piece Fenris for that protection from elites. I still haven't rolled the armor higher. I can actually roll this to a higher armor stat or armor percent. What I'm really looking for is a high armor percent roll, like 12 plus armor percent for my knee pads, because I can get more armor out of, 12% armor than I would rolling this to, like, I think the highest I have is like 16,000. It has hard hitting and patience. Patience, I think, is extremely important for this raid. And I sit in cover pretty much the entire time. And patience, just 5% every second, is really nice, especially when you have Safeguard up. It's crazy amounts of heals. With Safeguard up for that 5 seconds of Safeguard, you're getting 12.5% armor every second, which, almost fully heals you. Plus, you have that increased outgoing healing also increases your incoming healing. So the 15% on your specialization also increases patience and Unbreakable and any other healing you have. Incoming healing is only to you, but outgoing is to your teammates and yourself. I found that out by testing with Unbreakable, and it is true. So those are my pieces of gear. As far as my gun, I used to use preservation on the gun. When I first built for the raid, I didn't know the raid mechanics. I didn't know what we were going to be facing, so I went, as tanky as I possibly could. I didn't want to die. and it was really successful. We completed the raid, and I never fully died unless we were purposely wiping, and it was really awesome. But I felt like I was lacking quite a bit of damage. It was hard to kill enemies. So what I did is I had a choice between either Measured or Optimist. And Optimist is good as long as you're under 5 reds, which I could use here. But I've been wanting to use Measured for a while now. They buffed it. It's really good now. So it used to be a net loss of DPS. Now it's a gain of DPS, a total of 15% weapon damage. Optimist is around 16% with a 40-round mag. I haven't done the spreadsheet calculations for a 50-round or 60-round mag, but they're very close in full-on damage output. And they both have the same drawbacks of if you reload early, you're missing out on damage because the more damage is at the bottom of the magazines. So with Measured, top half of the magazine has a plus 20 rate of fire. Bottom half of the magazine has negative 20 rate of fire. So the total time to empty your magazine stays the same. Half of it's plus, half of it's minus. It stays the exact same time to empty your magazine. But the first half of the magazine is negative 15% weapon damage. Now your second half is plus 30% weapon damage. So you have a total of plus 15 throughout the entire magazine. When I first ran the raid, I was running the Nemesis, but I decided to try out the Chatterbox, and man, the Chatterbox is amazing. Especially with this P416 that has Allegro on it. That's what my other talent is Allegro. And it pairs so well with Measured. Here's the reason why. Measured lasts... Oh, sorry. Chatterbox buff lasts 10 seconds, which is 2 magazines worth of my P416. So I'm actually getting to dump 2 entire magazines with the 416 before the buff runs out. And look at this rate of fire here. As you can see, really, really strong. I just love it. It's actually getting up to 1,170 RPM. Which is pretty damn fast. It's like a vector. And it lasts for 2 magazines. So for one half of the magazine, I'm getting plus 40% rate of fire, negative 15% weapon damage. That is totally worth it. That's huge amounts of burst damage. The second half of the magazine, I'm breaking even. The base rate of fire on this 416 is 825. So for 2 magazines, I'm getting that. And then 2 magazines, I'm breaking even, staying at 825 RPM, but I'm gaining plus 30% weapon damage for that. If you look at my RPM now, this has the negative weapon damage involved, minus 15, with the plus 20 rate of fire. So I'm at 975. With Chatterbox active, I'm at 1,170. Now, if you want to see the damage when you're in the bottom half of the magazine, the way you do that with Measured is get to the bottom half, then change your gun, and change back, and now you see the bottom RPM. So this is with the negative rate of fire, but the plus damage. So now I have 27.4k bullet damage here. And with the Chatterbox up, I'm back to 825 RPM. As you can see, that's really, really fucking strong. I mean, this is faster rate of fire than my ACR with way more damage. And I just love it. I'm really, really loving this Measured Chatterbox combo. It's amazing. And I tested it out in the raid yesterday, and the damage difference was huge. I have not ran with this extra weapon damage now and the damage to elites, but I'm really excited to run it this time. I was still so over tanky. So I dropped about 50,000 armor and health, which isn't that much. I'm still gonna be really, really safe and be able to survive through the raid and just be able to do so much more damage. I gained 40% total damage to the build from the raid. As far as skills, what I use is obviously the chem launcher for the heal, and depending on the encounter, I use a reviver hive or the pulse EMP. In the final fight, I use the EMP, and that's so that if there's drones around me or the other teammates that are DPSing, you pop the EMP. You can, if they're really close, you can just tap it. If they're kind of far, you can charge it up, but you take the drones out really fast. It's also nice for the sniper dogs. It does not work on Buddy and Lucy, but overall, I changed between the two, and it works really good. My pistol, I only use this because of protected reload. With the chatterbox and the measured, I'm reloading a lot. So protected reload is really nice, 10% armor while reloading. And other than that, I think I've shown everything. I'll show you my gear mods, or my weapon mods. Some people are wondering how I got 50 bullets. I do have the 20-round sturdy extended 5.56 mag. If you guys didn't know, you can do your daily turn-in. You turn in some materials and you get a blueprint every single day. Plus, there's at least 3 a week that you can get from the weekly blueprints. Since I'm not running Nemesis anymore, I'm back to the 8% damage to elites scope instead of the C79. Damage to elites on the muzzle. And I run stability on the underbarrel because I'm not running sharpshooter. So I wanted that extra stability here. The accuracy, it seemed to be, it was more noticeable to have the stability than the accuracy for me. And if you're curious on my stats, we've got, let's see here, 55% headshot damage. It's not super high. 2.5% second reload speed. We have 28.5% all weapon damage and 35% assault rifle damage. That is a lot. It's over 60% there. So that's really, really nice. It's got a lot of damage for being so tanky. Then we've got 76% damage to elites. That's really, really useful. And then 29% health damage. I haven't tested out health damage on the final boss when you're actually dealing damage to his health bar. I will try to find out today if that actually helps. It'd be cool if it does. 280,000 armor. And this is going to go up a little bit when I reroll my knee pads. 106 or 100 and almost 7,000 health. My hazard protection is at 57%. And my protection from elites is something that it doesn't show, but I got 15 from the specialization. I have 10 from Fenris, so then we're up to 25% right there. And then I have a mod with 4% here. So now we're at 29%. And I might have another mod with it. Yeah, another 4% here. So 33% protection from elites on this build with all that hazard protection. It works out great. So let me know what you think, guys. You can always check me out live, Twitch TV/Inigo Montoya. We'll be running the raid pretty regularly, probably every day. And don't forget to check out my other videos and guides. I'll see you guys around. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.